Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit, coming back to you with another video. Today, I have my friend Kelsey on, who started reselling for, about 2 years ago on eBay, does Facebook, does Mercari. She sells a little bit of everything. She was telling me behind the scenes, but she sells a lot more like plush and toy items. She's doing around $2,500 to $3,000 a month. And she has a goal of getting to $5,000 a month. So welcome, Kelsey. How's it going?
Thanks. It's going well.
Yeah, it's great to talk with you. I know you're out of New Jersey. I'm in Connecticut. So a little East Coast love going on right now. You enjoying the nice cold weather?
No, I'm not, which is funny because I'm a December baby, but I do not care for the winter.
Yeah, one of the opportunities that we have over here, and I used to post about this in some of my videos, when it's cold out and even when it starts snowing, I mean, I hate driving when it snows, like I'm a little chicken, but there's such opportunities at the thrift stores because I just noticed a lot of people don't go to the thrift stores when it's snowing and stuff. Are you the type to go to a thrift store when it's snowing, or do you stay in?
Well, I have a couple of times, and it was really good because I was probably me and maybe one other person were there. But yeah, I'm not a snow person either. I've had a few incidents.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I'm excited to kind of dig into your story. Kelsey and I, we don't know each other very well. I did put out a post recently inviting a bunch of people to come on my channel because I really wanted to connect more with resellers for a couple reasons. Number one, my experience is my story. It connects to a certain demographic of people, but there's folks out there like yesterday, Alfonso from North Carolina, who, literally came from nothing, broke, couldn't pay his rent, had no car. Like I've already been getting a ton of messages of just people who are inspired by him. And I want to interview and talk and chat with and connect with more resellers because I feel like everybody has like something special that they could share. So I'm excited to bring you on because you're selling toys, you're doing around 2,500, 3,000 a month. And I know your story is going to help people. So why don't you bring everybody back to maybe 2-3 years ago, because I know you used to work in the retail industry and you were pretty sick and tired of being sick and tired and, excuse my language, ish kind of hit the fan at the end. So what happened? Bring us back 2-3 years ago before you started your reselling business and how you got into this crazy world of flipping plush and toys. And, the background of this video is a dirty thrift store. So how'd you get into this?
Well, actually, it kind of started once I was out of college. I was like fresh out of college, and I was kind of at that point where it was like, all right, well, what am I going to do? And I got my bachelor's degree in communications, and I was like looking for jobs in that field, mostly like social media stuff. And I couldn't believe I was so disappointed at like what these jobs were offering. Most of them were offering me like fast food wages. And I felt like I went to school for 4 years and this is what they were giving me. I felt like I had done all that work and now I was working at a restaurant at the time as well. And I felt like I could make more in a weekend at the restaurant than I would with this like career.
Yep.
So I was looking for jobs and then eventually I did find one that was like, okay, pay. And the job was like simple enough. So I figured it was okay. But it wasn't. It wasn't great at all, to say the least. I had issues with a manager there, and it got to the point where it was kind of affecting my mental health. I felt like I was just completely unhappy and checked out because I was just going somewhere every day that made me miserable. So it kind of happened by accident, the whole reselling thing, because this specific job, which was for the retail, it was like a retail magazine that you send every month to subscribers and they just buy stuff from there.
Oh, interesting.
So we would get samples of all the items we'd put in our magazine. And once the photos were taken of the samples, the employees can either go into the room and take what they want or they just donate it. So I definitely took advantage of that part of the job. So, every now and then when they opened the room, I would go in, get a couple of items and just get what I liked, basically.
Like what kind of samples are we talking about here?
Like everything. I got like bed sets. I got bug zappers for the outdoors. I got like yard lights for a patio. I got like all kinds of stuff, clothes, shoes, toys,
Like,
everything.
is it like the real item, or is it like a promotional sample of the item, or is it's like a legit item?
No, it's the legit item. I guess they send it to us for photos and also for measurement purposes. And yeah, we got to keep the sample. So they would either give them away or we could have them if we wanted. Um, so because of that, like when I decided to leave the job, I was kind of just fed up with it. And I didn't have another job lined up, but I just said, screw it. And I quit. And so at the time, my house was pretty small. And I realized being there every day, like jobless, that I had piles of stuff that I did not need from
Mm.
this job. I probably had like 15 bed sets. And I was like, yeah, that's like 10 bed sets too many. I
He was
had like
holding
bus
hard.
wrappers galore, lights for the outdoor. I had so much stuff. So I
You had
was
a
like,
death pile before you knew what a death pile was.
yeah, exactly. I had a death pile. And so that's around the time when I started noticing that Facebook Marketplace was being marketed a lot more. And so I figured like I have a couple things to get rid of. I'm not really making any money any like other ways. So why not try and sell these things to people locally? And I did not expect the reaction that I got. Like almost everything that I put up, I did probably undersell it a little, but everything I put up sold so quickly. And that's kind of when I was like, whoa, like I could see myself doing this. Like I don't have to work with anyone. I could do whatever I want. Like this is great.
And at that point, sorry to interrupt you, did you ever hear about people reselling items on eBay or Amazon or Mercari or Facebook Marketplace? Did you know that this world existed, or you kind of just like put one plus one together? You were like, okay, I have items here. I need money. You heard about Facebook Marketplace being promoted.
Yeah.
What did you know at that time?
I did know about eBay, but not very much. Like I knew people could sell on there, but it was never something that really crossed my mind that I could actually be selling stuff and like create my own business this way. So I feel like the whole Facebook thing with those samples are what like opened my eyes to the fact that you could do something like this. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I say that all the time. Like the biggest hurdle for anybody wanting to start reselling, like for me, it changed at the exact same time that it changed for you. Like once I started selling a couple of items, I was flipping stuff on Craigslist though,
oh
because
wow.
it
Okay.
5 years before Facebook Marketplace wasn't even a thing.
Mhm.
Once you flip those first couple items, you actually get that cash in your hand. It's like a light bulb goes off. And it sounds like, I'm interested to hear more about your story. That light bulb went off. But now you're posed with a problem because although you do have a death pile, you're selling it, it's moving quickly. Bring us to the point where like you started to say to yourself, like, oh man, like I want to find more items, because I'm sure that's what happened.
Yeah, yeah, it did. So I think like around the last couple of items that I had, I started realizing like, okay, once this is gone, what's next? So I started looking on Craigslist. I started looking on Craigslist because I remember I had a cousin who used to kind of like look on Craigslist to find free sales, and she'd go to these sales and like get stuff. But I didn't think that I'd actually find any free sales, but when I first started selling, I got really lucky and I found quite a few yard sales where people were like, just come with a bag and fill it and take it. So I was like, okay, I'll come, and I'd fill up my car with anything. I'd be like,
Uh,
keyboard, that's for me. Okay, this photo looks nice. That's for me. Computer chair, I'm taking that too. So that's kind of how I got over that little hump of finding more items. But then that kind of dried out. I don't know if I just got really lucky that year, but after that, I couldn't really find any more. So then I did watch a YouTube video, and I can't remember whose video it was, unfortunately, but he was kind of like just driving around during I don't know how you call it, like when they dump big items, like
yeah.
trash up, but for larger items.
It's like dumpster diving, or like when they drop it off in front of the house, like when
It's like curb on the curb.
side stuff. Yeah.
So I'd like drive around my neighborhood, see if I found anything. And a couple of times I found like some like kids' toys and I sold those. But again, it was still kind of drying out. You can only find so much
Wasn't
and
consistent.
waste so much gas doing that.
Yeah.
So I ended up, I went to Dollar Tree and I found some lights there for the like outdoor lights. And I was like, the lights that I got from my old job sold really fast. I wonder if I bought 5 of these as an experiment and tried to like flip them if they would sell.
Really?
So I went and I bought 5 lights and I put them up, I think for like $6, $7 a piece, and it sold out immediately. So I was like, oh, okay. So I ran back to the Dollar Tree and I bought a whole set of them and I sold them all too. And then I kind of started looking to Dollar Tree as like a place to find things.
Interesting.
So yeah, I flipped those and then I found some Sunbeam like power strips. And I was like, these are a brand that people would know. And it's a power strip. Power strips are like 20 bucks a piece. If I buy one for one, I bought 5. So I bought 5 of them and I was like, another experiment. I put them up, sold them like between $6 and $8 a piece also. And then it's like, all right, well, there's another thing I can do. So I just bought a bunch of them and that's kind of what I was using for a while before I ended up finding your videos. I found a video with you and Vinny, and you guys are talking about toys. And I thought it was such an interesting thing. I never would have thought people would buy used toys.
Hmm.
So I remember listening to one of the videos while I was driving, and as soon as I got home, I went on eBay and I was like, Paw Patrol can't be worth that much money. So I'm like looking up Paw Patrol.
Liars.
I'm looking up all this stuff, and then I was like, wow, I guess it is pretty good. So I watched as many videos as you guys had up at the time. And I was like, okay, like I've made a couple $100s with these lights and the Sunbeam stuff. So what if I took like $100, went to the Goodwill? Like I have a Goodwill 5 minutes from me, and I never used to go there for whatever reason. But I figured I'll take $100, go to Goodwill, and if I see any of the stuff you guys mentioned, I'll buy it and try it out for myself. Because I figured $100 isn't life-changing money, and it's a small risk, so why not?
I love how open you are. If I could jump in real quick, like you're so like you're just like you're open and like curious and like willing to experiment. And I feel like a lot of people, and you can't blame them because there's a lot of scams out there and a lot of people just trying to sell you products and courses and trying to get you in on their agenda. But you were like open to it. Like you were open to all these different ideas and like experimenting with it. I just want to make that comment. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I feel like it's always good to keep learning. And at that point I was like, well, it's either I try to make this work or find a job that I'm probably going to hate and do the same thing over. So I was like, I'm going to take these $100, find what I can. And so I went to Goodwill and bought a couple. I remember it was like a bag of Bratz dolls for like $5. I got a bag of like American Girl clothes for $5. And
Oh,
when the
nice.
yeah, when the first one sold, I was like jumping for joy. I couldn't believe. I was like, all right, toys is where I'm going. And yeah, and then I kind of just stuck with it because I feel like toys, like you've said in your videos, you got to go with what's like abundant in your area. So
Jersey is filled with toys. That place is a freaking every thrift store I go into New Jersey is like the hugest mess I've ever seen, full of toys all the time.
and I guess like my town are just like either full of hoarders or something, but people do not get rid of their kids like stuff for a long time. And then they just, I guess, get tired of having all the space being used and then they donate it. So we got like a lot of donations, like huge bulk ones of like vintage like stuff from the 80s and all kinds of really good stuff.
Mm.
Plus, I live not that far from Bon Jovi and he donates a lot of stuff there too. And it's always good.
Really? That's cool. So you found toys, you went to your thrift store, you experimented, and again, similar to what you did with the product samples, you put them up, you tested it, made some sales. You did it with Dollar Tree. You did it again with the toys at the thrift store, which is really cool. What what about toys got you hooked? Were you able to consistently source on a regular basis, even up until now, a couple years later? Is it the prices? Is it the speed that it sells? Because thrift stores are made up of all different types of items, as we all know, Kelsey. There's glassware, there's clothing, there's books. There's board games. There's so many different types of items. So why did you really gravitate more towards the toys and the plush?
It's a couple of reasons. Like toys, smaller toys, especially at the beginning, I felt like I didn't have a lot of space to hold things. So I figured like a couple of small toys, I could get a few bins and just have them in there and not have anything in like the way. So that there was that, and then there's the price points. I feel like if I go into, especially now, if I go into a thrift store, everything's like high price, but you can find a $3 bag full of like 10 vintage toys that you make way more than your money back on.
You guys have the toy bags over at your thrift stores? Because a lot of our Goodwills don't have the toy bags. It's the Savers that we have the toy bags at.
My Goodwill has more like plush bags, but I also go to another place called Unique.
Okay.
And that's where I usually find the toy bags. They have a lot of them.
Gotcha. So how long ago was it you started messing with toys? Is this like the last 6 months or the last year or?
Um, Toys were kind of like from the beginning. I mean, once I started sourcing in Goodwill and at the thrift stores, then I kind of mostly went for toys. Even before plush, like toys were what I was doing, especially because I was also kind of shy, so I didn't really want competition. So I felt like I would look over and the video games, the books, electronics were like swarmed with people, and I'd be like, I'm just gonna go to the toys, just see what's there. And so while they're fighting over their video games, I'd find like a $50 little minifigure
Yeah.
and be like, good.
Yeah, that's interesting. Typically in the toy section, you'll have competition, but it won't be resellers for the most part. A lot of times it's like, a mom and their kid or something, or a dad
Yeah.
with their kid or whatnot. I want to know in the comments right now, because it looks like we have 60 people watching live. So smash the like button, say what's up to Kelsey. She's doing a great job right now live. She said she's never been on video before. And I think you're doing absolutely amazing. So give some love to Kelsey and let me know in the comments, what part of the thrift store, what types of products do you feel are the most competitive? Do you think it's the books? Do you think it's the clothing? Do you think it's the toys? Do you think it's the little glass box area? I don't know if you have that in your thrift stores with the little glass case area where they used to put really good deals in there. Now it's like, if you don't have $1,000 in your wallet, you ain't leaving with anything.
Yeah. Actually, in my Goodwill, the glass case is like useless because they put basically trash in there.
Mm.
There's nothing expensive. It's just like junk.
So, okay. So you've been doing toys and stuff for a couple years approximately now. Share maybe some of your successes, because I'm sure when you first started, maybe you were only doing a couple $100 a month, and then maybe 500, 1,000. Now you're doing between, I wrote some notes down. You said anywhere from like 2,500 to 3,000. And that's between, correct me if I'm wrong, you said eBay, Mercari, and Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
So what did that trajectory look like when you first started? Were you only selling a couple of items, and then it went to 10 items, and then 20, and then 1,000 a month, $2,000 profit, like, or 2,000 in sales? Like, what did that look like over the 2 years, to give context to people who are starting right now? Because you didn't instantly just get to this point where you're able to build a nice little part-time side hustle.
Right.
So what did that kind of look like?
I would say like in the beginning, I definitely sourced a little less. So I would go maybe twice a week and find a few items, and I probably sold like every month in the beginning. I probably sold like 20 items a month. And because I was still so new and not really aware of what the really good items to get were, I was kind of selling cheaper items. So I wasn't making that much, probably around like 400 a month.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like so happy that I was selling, and I decided like research was what was going to get me to the next level, cuz yeah, you got to keep going. So anyway, I figured to the next level, I wanted to start like hiring my price points. So I kind of started focusing more like on items that were, instead of maybe $8 to $10, were more like $20 to $25. And little by little, I was just like making it a point to make sure that the items I was getting were the price point that I wanted them at.
Yep.
So with that is kind of how I started scaling it up a little bit. Also, tons of research. I research at least 15 minutes a day, like every category that I can, in order to like figure out what's good, because obviously you want quality, not quantity, or you'd be with a death pile the size of like Kilimanjaro or something. So
So do you
yeah,
still do that now? Do you still research for 15 minutes a day?
yeah. I do that every day, especially because I'm on groups like in Facebook, like selling groups where people show what they sold and how much it sold for, how much they bought it for, and stuff like that. So that's kind of like an easy way of doing your research without really having to go in and do research. So I find like different little ways of like researching things that I've never heard of before. I try to follow a lot of people on Instagram that sell similar things as me.
Let,
And yeah, that's kind of what I
let me
do.
ask you a question, and I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm asking it for a reason. Have you heard about the reseller handbook that I put out recently?
I've heard of it, yes.
Okay, so this is good because that means that you're not a part of it. So it's a product right now. It's $10 a month, but I'm actually going to be hooking you up. And what I do is I research and I create 5 new products every single day, and it gets literally put into a membership site. So myself, Vinny, we do a bunch of research in all different types of categories, and literally for people who are subscribed, every single day they get 5 items. Have you ever checked out any of my guides that I've created or anything? Any of Vinny's toy guides or anything?
No, I never got around to the
It's
guide.
essentially like a book. So literally every single day you would get, it takes us about an hour to research 5 high quality items. And we share what the item is, the product, the picture, what it's selling for, so on and so forth. And it's 5 new items every day. So it's 150 items a month. I'm going to hook you up with that for a year, just so you know. So you're going to be able to learn about 1,800 items over the next year. Every single day, you're going to
Nice.
get an email with 5 new ones. So I don't know. I wanted to give you some support because a lot of people don't invest in their knowledge, and it's so important every single day to just research, research, and research. That's the number one way to make more money, because you know how it is when you first started. I mean, how many toys did you pass up that you didn't know about?
A lot. A lot of really good ones, to where now that I know what they're worth, I'm like, I just have to let it go or I'll be kicking myself forever.
Is there anything that you remember passing up maybe a couple months ago and now you learned about it and you're like, oh, I can't believe I passed that up? Has that happened to you, or is it?
Yeah, it has. I remember there was like a Build-A-Bear that I started selling Build-A-Bears, and then I realized that they weren't really that great unless it was like a specific one that people were after. So I kind of like gave up on the Build-A-Bears, and I saw this Build-A-Bear. It was like a wolf, and I thought it was cute and it looked like something that would sell, but I just left it because I figured I have 10 Build-A-Bears that haven't sold, and I don't really want to get another one. And come to find out, with the group that I'm on Facebook that shows like solds, it's like a $200 plush. And I left that behind, and I
Mhm.
think about that every now and then. I've left things like, because I picked up a couple of like Power Ranger toys, which were okay, but then later on I found out that what's really the good stuff is like the weapons.
Mm.
And I've passed up a bunch of them thinking like, well, if it's just the weapon and not the figure, like no one's gonna want it. But now I know better. So if I see them, I grab them quickly.
So appreciate you sharing that. Switching topics. So you're selling on Mercari, you're selling on Facebook Marketplace, you're selling on eBay. When you find an item, how do you decide where you're going to put it? And secondly, I'm going to ask you on top of that, with Facebook Marketplace, as we all know, they've opened up the shipping option. So, you don't have to sell locally. You can just ship it out. Are you shipping or are you selling locally?
Like 90% of my Facebook stuff is shipping.
Okay, cool. And are you selling toys on Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah.
Wow. We got to get Vinny on that. He's not even selling, he's just selling all his stuff on eBay. So that's good to know. So, how do you decide where you're going to put an item?
I kind of just try to put them on all of the platforms, but I usually put higher priced items on my Mercari because Mercari is a little expensive with the fees.
Really? What is it?
It's like 14%, I think. It's around
14.
14, which is a little bit more than eBay, but it's still more than eBay. So I try to keep things to eBay or Facebook more.
I think
Also
Facebook Marketplace is the cheapest of all, right? With the fees, I believe. Isn't it like ridiculously cheap?
5%, yeah.
And do you know what they were doing recently? Did you have crazy sales on Facebook over the last couple of weeks?
Not more than usual, I think. But is it because of the free shipping?
Yeah, they were subsidizing the shipping. I'm not
People
even kidding. I spent probably over $7,000 sourcing items on Facebook Marketplace for my Amazon business because there were so many big items that my margin was in the shipping. And now that they were subsidizing the shipping, I mean, it was just, if I got bags under my eyes, it's because I've been sourcing on Facebook Marketplace. It just ended the 17th, but yeah.
Yeah, they do that quite a bit, actually. That's actually how I started shipping in the first place. Cause like I always found like shipping, well, in the beginning, I found shipping to be kind of intimidating. I didn't know like how to buy the labels. I didn't have a label printer. I didn't have any of that stuff. Um, but I remember there was a week where they were doing free shipping, and I was like, well, if there was ever a time to try shipping, like this would be it. And because they have everything pretty much done for you, you just need to print it. I was like, all right, let's try shipping. And if I don't mind it, then maybe I'll try shipping more items and selling a couple more things. And so I sold a few things with the free shipping and never looked back. I just ship all the time.
Yeah, it's so smart for Facebook to do that. You know, they're such a big business, or Meta, whatever you want to call them now.
Yeah,
We'll be shipping items in the metaverse before you know it. But you know, I think it's really, really smart because a lot of people they don't really want to try selling on Facebook because it's like, oh, I got to print a label and ship, and it's confusing. And it's interesting. I was actually messaging people who weren't offering shipping, and I was telling them, hey, if you put the shipping option on, it's free. And I guided a couple people to teach them. Facebook makes it so easy to ship.
Yeah, it's very easy to ship with them.
So simple. So switching gears a little bit, I'm going to put you on the hot seat a little bit, try to get you to crack.
All right.
What would you say is working best for you in your business right now? Like if you're thinking about, maybe it could be sourcing, listing, or shipping, or maybe your time management. What does there anything that comes to mind where you're just really proud of yourself about a certain thing that you've implemented, or something in your business you've learned, or just something that you're just like, this is working really, really well right now?
Mm-hmm. I think I would say it's like my knowledge of the things that I like to source, because it's funny, I take my fiance with me sometimes and he'll be like completely shocked at the things that I pick up because I'm like, oh yeah, we'll take this and this, and he just sees junk and I'm like, yeah, we'll take this, and when I tell him what it's worth, he's like shocked. So yeah, I would say that because it's gotten to the point where I don't really need to look anything up as much. I'll just go into the store and know what it is and just pick it up.
Send me a message. Send me a message in 3 months. I promise you, when you go through this handbook every single day, I can guarantee you there's going to be 80% of the things that you've never heard of before that are worth a lot of money.
Probably. I believe that. Yeah. So
we'll show your fiance what's really up.
Yeah, it's actually funny because he has never been into like Legos or toys or anything like that, but I got a free bag of Legos one time, and the amount of money that I made on it, he was so shocked that now he's like investing in Lego. So, I mean, we also watched the video with you and Vinny about the investing, and he overheard it. So between like me selling the Legos and your video, forget it. He's going nuts with investing in Lego.
Did he pick up any of the Lego Speed Champions before Walmart and Amazon sold out of them all?
He picked up a whole bunch of them to the point where I have to tell him to calm down sometimes. So I'm like, okay, it's a little too much. We don't have space for all of this.
Are you guys ungated on Amazon with Lego? Can you sell Lego on Amazon? Probably not.
I'm not sure. I don't really sell on Amazon because it just seems like it's a little too complicated. But maybe one day.
Yeah, you should definitely look into it. I'm telling you right now, with Amazon FBA, it's one of the most overlooked opportunities that most resellers pass up on. There's so much money on Amazon FBA that Mercari, eBay, Facebook can't even touch with a 100-foot stick. But yeah, that'll be another topic for another video. But it's definitely a scary place to sell and start. But yeah, that's cool that he's investing in the Legos, the Speed Champions. I know a lot of those right now. I believe they were what, like $11.99 each. On Amazon, they're already up to about 28. So
Nice.
they're starting to move. But yeah, I've got a guy from the Brick Bucks Lego YouTube channel. He's going to be coming on over the next couple of weeks. So you're going to have your fiance
Oh,
tune
awesome.
in.
Yes.
Because this guy's on a whole nother level. What would you say is maybe if you were to look back over the last couple of years, Kelsey, and you were to say or have a conversation with yourself and be like, damn, like this was probably a mistake. If I would have just avoided this mistake, my whole business would have been different. Like if there was maybe one or two things that you wish you would have avoided, done differently, that could help you to grow your business faster, is there anything that stands out?
That is a good question.
Besides, watching the Rake and Profit YouTube channel sooner, of course.
I definitely wish I had started sooner, like maybe like in college. That way I could have, by now been probably at that 5,000 goal. But not really. I feel like everything I did, I was like kind of careful with how I went about like spending my money and finding the right things. Maybe experiment a little less, because there was a point where like I had a death pile that I was not sure what I was gonna do with, because it wasn't really stuff that would sell. But I guess because I was picking up things that I kind of liked as well, which apparently is not like the best thing to do. So yeah, I guess just be like, I would say be a little bit more careful with the sourcing, like what you're sourcing. And I probably would have started with higher dollar items.
Yeah.
Because like I said, some of the plush that I was selling, I was probably making like $8 a piece. And yeah, it was some money, but who knows what I could have been doing now had I known of the more expensive stuff.
Cool. Yeah. I went through the same thing, I was mostly dealing with clothing when I was, the first 3 years I was reselling, and I would flip anything that would make $3, $4, $5 profit. And eventually, you realize, wow, like my time is money. It's, we have to bring the item home, sometimes clean it, test it, take pictures, list it, titles, keywords, descriptions. And then let's not even talk about, offers and customer service and shipping and inventory and tools and supply. I mean, it's a whole process. So a lot of times we just look at the profit, but we don't realize like that relationship with time. So sounds like you've really grown from that situation. Now, you had mentioned Plush before. Can you give some tips for someone who's new? And if people don't know what Plush is, maybe you could explain what Plush is, because I know you sell a lot of it. Can you give some tips and advice for maybe the complete beginner, how to get started with Plush, and maybe, how you go about sourcing Plush and what to look for?
Yeah. So I would say one thing that really helped me, if you're on Facebook, I would definitely join the sold groups of items that people have sold. They tell you how much they sold it for. They tell you the brands. You can see photos of all the stuff.
I've
So
never heard of that before. I have no idea what you're talking about.
yeah, like on, like the personal or private Facebook groups, there's a specific one. It's like eBay sellers. And so you'd go on, you join this group, and basically whenever someone sells a couple of plush, they'll be like, hey guys, check out what I sold here. And that is actually how I learned about a lot of really good plush, because some of these people are selling like $100 plush on the regular. So with that is kind of how I learned about a lot of brands that were really good to pick up. I definitely pick up like well-known brands of plush like Disney, but I never pick up, or I try not to pick up, common characters. It's always uncommon characters. Like if there's a Disney villain, usually the villains are good. If there's a character where he only shows up like twice in the movie, that's probably one
Why
that you.
is it the rarity?
Yeah, because usually since they're such small characters, they're not produced as much. So there's not as many out there, so people will pay more money to get them.
And who's buying these items? Would you say it's probably collectors? They want to kind of just complete their set or something like that, maybe?
Well, from my research of being in these Facebook groups, because I'm in groups where they tell you what they sell, but I'm also in groups that I sell on. So based off of the research that I've done with that, I feel like it's a bit of like everyone. Like the ages are between like 15 to 40. Some people are collectors, some people are just like, I want something pink and like fluffy. And so I think it's like a big mixed bag of people who buy plush. But there's definitely like a lot of kids plush where moms buy for their kids, like if it's, not selling anymore. So if it's out of stock, a mom will definitely pay up for a toy that her kid had or a plush that her kid had that's not being sold anymore. So,
All right. So let's say we walk into the thrift store, and we go over to the plush area at the thrift store. How do you start looking things up? Like, what's your process? For someone like myself who I'm like terrible with characters and like I don't know who any of these people are. Like, if you've like Vinny would like know all the characters and stuff, so he'd probably be good at it. But for me, like, what advice would you give? If I wanted to go in there and start looking up plush and stuff, but I didn't know the characters, like, is there tags that you're looking at? Are there specific features? Like, are you looking up like, pink, whatever? Like, how are you finding these items and like finding that specific sold to like get a comparable sale? Or are you guessing?
in the beginning, it was a lot of guessing. It was kind of like me just picking up what I liked. It was kind of easy because I like spent my entire childhood glued to the TV watching cartoons, so I feel like I know so many characters. But I would say to look at the tags for sure, because brands matter. And I think plush made in the USA are usually good. It's usually good because that means that they're vintage most of the time.
Oh,
Because
okay.
now they're like usually made in China or Vietnam. So I look for maybe the USA in the tag, and if I do see that, then I use Google Lens if I don't know what like kind of plush it is.
Google Lens.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. I
Really?
must be living under a rock. I thought I was pretty good with the Google
Oh
stuff.
no, Google Lens is like it's been the best tool ever for any reseller because you just
Drop
take
some knowledge, girl.
yes, you take a photo of whatever it is and it'll search throughout the whole of Google and come up with
Really?
names. Yeah.
Jesus,
So,
maybe you should be running the Rake and Profit YouTube channel after that. And this is what I'm talking about. So Google Lens, it's kind of like, Amazon. Well, you don't sell on Amazon, but the Amazon app, I could pull it out and I could scan the cover and stuff and it'll look up the listing. So this will search Google for you. And so what you're essentially doing is you're scanning an item you're not sure of. So it'll pull up maybe like keywords like the character name. So then you can put that into eBay and try to find a sold listing.
right, yeah. Yeah, so you usually pull up a picture of the item. I've like there's stuff that I've found that's like super rare that I couldn't find on eBay, I couldn't find on Facebook, couldn't find anywhere. Google Lens has really hooked me up because yeah, it's been a big tool for me. If I don't know something, I quickly take the picture, find out what it is, and check it out on the sold listings.
And that's the golden gem for the day. I'm curious in the comments, am I the only guy who didn't know about Google Lens? I feel like everyone's gonna be like, Steve, like, how did you not know of Google Lens? I'd never heard of that before.
I feel like Google Lens is pretty popular. So I'm sure.
I must be living under a rock. Well, interesting. Okay, well that's good to know. Thanks for the tips with the plush. What does your process look like nowadays for listing? Do you have a specific routine, certain days that you list? Do you ship every day? What does your kind of day-to-day look like?
Yeah, I kind of have to keep a routine or else like things will go all over the place. I usually spend the morning packaging my items to ship out because I do ship every day. So I spend the morning doing that. That probably takes me like an hour or two, depending on how many shipments I have. And then after that, I take photos of my items or I'm either cleaning them. I spend like 1 or 2 hours on each thing also. And then, yeah, I just list. I try to list like at least 10 items a day.
Mhm.
But minimum 5, but my goal is always 10. I try to take an hour out of my day to like relist items and then relist items on eBay. What else do I do? I also renew listings on Facebook, or sometimes I'll go through my Facebook or eBay and I'll look at certain items that maybe the photos aren't the best. So if they've been sitting for a while, I retake photos and I try to like freshen up listings. So yeah, it's like an 8-hour day. I usually try to limit everything like an hour for each thing.
Do you offer, well, Facebook's only buy it now and make offers. There's no auctions on there. At least I don't know of it. But
You can make offers now.
no, I mean like auctions. You can't do
Oh
auctions
yeah, yeah, no option.
on eBay. You can't. So obviously Facebook, you're doing buy it now. Do you have best offers?
Yes, I do. I do
You
best
get a
offers.
lot of offers? What's that look like for you?
I I'd say it's like 50-50. Like I get like half of the time I get an offer, which I do get a lot of lowball offers, but
Really?
I've been lucky to where I'll get a couple of lowballs and then someone will just buy it like flat out. No offer, nothing, just buy it full price.
Would you say that your toys are selling better on eBay or Facebook?
Hmm. They used to sell better on Facebook, but I think maybe now eBay is kind of winning.
eBay's winning a little
'Cause
bit.
Facebook right now is doing something where they're trying to promote promoted listings. So I think that they're kind of like not giving, like I used to get like 4,000 views on an item and now I get maybe 1,000.
Mm,
And I think it's because they're promoting the promoted listings. They want you to pay for you to get views.
yeah,
So that
doesn't
has kind of
surprise me.
slowed it down a little bit. But yeah, I think eBay would be better.
And would you say your toys on, if you were to compare eBay and Facebook Marketplace, say a specific toy sells for 30 on eBay, will that sell for 35 on Facebook or 25 on Facebook, or is it pretty similar?
It's pretty similar, but if I notice that there's like, if I have an item and there's not that many of them on eBay, I'll just put whatever price I want on both Facebook and eBay because I'm like,
Yeah,
well, it's not that once those are sold out, they're gonna come to me for my items. So I'll just put what I want. But normally I keep them around the same price. Mercari, I usually up the price a little bit just to like make up for the little percentage of the fees.
interesting. Yeah, and I know you're on Mercari as well. Do you just kind of play around on Mercari because the fees are up at 14%, or are there certain items you put on Mercari?
Well, I'm kind of new to Mercari. I've probably been doing it for like 6 months now. Um, I mean, it's all right. I do kind of play around with it because I don't make as many sales on there, so I don't post as much as I do on eBay and Facebook. But I guess I'm kind of experimenting with them. I'm trying to see if maybe if I up the price a little bit, will people still buy it here, or should I just stick to the prices that I keep on my Facebook and eBay? So, yeah, I'm kind of experimenting right now. So that's what I'm trying to figure out.
You got to get you a nice little white coat because you're like a little lab rat. You're experimenting all the time, and I love it. You're always trying different things and stuff. And if anyone could see your background, is that your inventory right there?
Oh yeah, that's
Oh
one
yeah.
side over here, and then I have more there. I have a lot. I don't know if you can see.
I'm trying to make the screen big, but I think it's just it's only, hold on, let me see. Okay, so the screen's on you
I
right
have that
now.
there,
Look at all the plush. Look at that.
and then I have this on this side.
How is is it okay if I ask you how do you manage your inventory? Because it looks like it's all beautifully somewhat organized, a mess, but it's all there. It looks like it's nice, but I don't see any SKU system or anything.
No, I am what you call an organized mess. Like I know where everything is because I keep it kind of like I'll have my Fisher Price all in one bin. I'll have all my Disney Plush in one bin. I'll have all my Build-A-Bear in one bin. So it's not really marked clearly, but I just know where they are. So I'll just quickly look through my stuff and I find it pretty easily.
Gotcha, gotcha. Have you ever had a time where you couldn't find an item?
Yes. Yes. I was just a mess at the beginning and I didn't really have any way of organizing. I just like threw things to the side so they weren't in the way. And yeah, that was a struggle. There'd be times where I'd like be pulling my hair out, like, where is this item? It's sold and now there's nothing. Like, what am I gonna tell this person? And Yeah, so finally I got over stressing out about that and wasting my time looking for stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get some bins, going to get some racks. Let's get this room together.
Yeah, you guys put a 1 in the comments if you could relate, if you've ever had that situation. The worst is when, the post office is closing at 4 o'clock and it's like 3:35 or something, or 3:40, and you can't find this item and you're like, oh my God, the time is running out. I'm going to get late, a late strike on all these items. And then finally you're just like, ugh, like Ginger just put a 1 in the comments. Ginger knows all about that. Shemza knows all about that. So yeah, I mean, it's part of the business, but as long as it's an organized mess, as long as you know where it is, I think that's the most important thing. So, any final words or advice or anything else you want to talk about, or anything, any tips or just any final words you want to share for anybody who's watching, who is new or struggling or doesn't think that reselling is a real thing that you can make money? Like, what would you say?
I would say that those were my exact thoughts 3 years ago, and now I'm here doing it. So I would say just not to experiment, but be curious and do a lot of research. Look into YouTube videos, look into eBay, look into Mercari, follow people on Instagram who are doing what you want to do, because basically you should surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do. That way you can learn from them, or you can just pick up things from watching them. It's basically a lot of research and patience, because things are not going to be perfect from the start. So definitely patience, and yeah, just get started, because if you keep waiting, then it's just never going to happen for you. Get started, be patient, join those Facebook groups, use Google, Google Lens.
Google Lens. And if you want to surround yourself with like-minded people, go follow Kelsey. I put her Instagram in the description, which is over at Curly Girl. Finish it for me. What is it? Curly Girl. Curly Girl Thrifts. So I put a link to that in the description. So give her a follow. It's so funny. Dan goes, I thought you were joking about not knowing about Google Lens. Man, that's a big rock. Yeah, that's like Plymouth Rock. That's a rock that you don't want to share publicly. But it just goes to prove, like, there's always so much to learn. And that's why I'm going to be interviewing a ton of people. That's why I want to bring on a bunch more resellers, because let's be honest, like, everybody on social media wants to act so cool and act like they know it all and everything's perfect, but we all have blind spots. We all have things that we can learn. And I learned that from you today. So thank you so much for sharing. Thanks for coming on. I know your goal real quick is to hit 5K in sales. So just I want you to look back on this video in 6 months. What are you committed to doing to get to those 5K in sales per month?
Well, I'm committed to improving my photography skills. I'm committed to, I guess, continuing with good customer service that has been getting me the good reviews. And I'm committed to learning more about quality items that I can sell and find easily. And yeah.
Well, we're going to have to do an update maybe in 6 months or so, see how things are going. I definitely believe in you, and just want to congratulate you on taking action, experimenting, researching items all the time. Behind the scenes, I'm going to hook you up with that handbook. So hopefully that'll help you out as well. And big shout out to your fiance. Hopefully he keeps crushing the Legos. So he'll have to tune into that video coming soon. And with that being said, thanks for coming on, Kelsey. Check her out on Instagram. First link down below in the description. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, show some love. And we will see you guys in the next video. Thanks, Kelsey. Thanks everyone for watching.